Now we shall look at some of the preventive measures that can be undertaken for control of occupational hazards and occupational diseases. So there are some general measures for the health protection of workers, and these involve first of all nutrition. A balanced healthy nutrition for the workers results in good immunity and good healthy conditions prior to exposure to all the work conditions, and this can result in control of certain health hazards and health conditions related to the occupations. Communicable disease control is very essential in occupation and professions, and this can be ensured by vaccination and isolation and quarantine of individuals which have either acquired the disease or have been exposed to the person carrying that disease. Environmental sanitation is another general measure that can be very that can go very far in ensuring the health protection of workers, and this involves water supply for clean water. The food that is being provided should be hygienic. The conditions for toilets and latrines should be in proper way. General cleanliness of these environment as well as the workers is important. Sufficient space should be there for the workers. Lighting should be adequate. Ventilation should be there, and housing should be there, etc. Mental health is another aspect of health that is essential for the workers of a certain profession, and the focus should be on good mental health of all the workers in an occupation. Measures for women and children, if there are some women workers in an occupation, there should be facilities to care for their children there, or also to care for certain needs of women in those professions. For example, daycare centers are a good example of taking care of women and children in certain occupations. Health education should be there, and family planning should be focused upon among healthcare workers. Then we come to certain specific measures for prevention of certain occupational diseases, and these specific measures may be of medical measures, maybe of three varieties: medical measures, engineering measures, and then there is legislation. The medical measures involve pre-placement examination before a person is hired or placed in a certain occupation. So he or she should undergo a medical examination to see if he or she is fit for that occupation and is not carrying any pre-existing condition. There should be periodic examination of workers after a year or after 6 months. Medical and healthcare services should be provided to the workers. There should be notification if any of the workers acquires some disease or there is any incident which is health related. It should be notified to the authorities. Supervision of working environment should be there. Maintenance and analysis of records, whatever medical records are there, they should be maintained and they should be analyzed periodically to look for data and see if it is suggesting any increased incidence of any disease. Health education and counseling is very important among medical measures. Then there are certain engineering measures for the control and prevention of occupational diseases, and these engineering measures include a design of building. The building should be designed in a way that it caters for all the requirements of that particular occupation or profession, whether it is a hospital or a school or a factory or whatever the building is designed for. There should be good housekeeping, cleanliness, hygiene should be focused upon. There should be good ventilation present in the building. There should be mechanization of certain areas of the industry where human interaction with the certain toxic or harmful substances is minimized. For example, if there is a toxic substance involved in the manufacturing, the handling of that substance should be done by machines or robots, not by the humans. There can be substitution where a harmful substance is substituted with a less toxic or non-toxic substance. The dusts should be controlled. There should be proper ventilation, or there should be negative pressure vacuuming to remove the dusts which have been suspended in the air or present on the floor. These certain processes in the factory may be enclosed in an area and not exposed to rest of the industry or rest of the factory. There should be isolation of certain processes. There should be local exhaust ventilation wherever there is uh, presence of toxic substances. For example, in paint shops where painting of certain things is done, there should be local exhaust ventilation that does not allow the fumes of paint to be distributed among rest of the factory. There should be protective devices, protective gear for the people. Environmental monitoring should be there, measurement of the amount of substances in the air inside the industry. There should be statistical monitoring, and there is research, which is a big part of understanding all these and then making recommendations. The legislation part involves making laws that ensure that the health of the workers in all occupations is looked after, and people higher up are made responsible for maintenance and looking after the health of health workers. There is health insurance for people who are working in occupations, in certain occupations, and there are social security schemes which enable insurance and provision of certain services to the to the workers in certain occupations. Finally, we look at some of the diseases that happen due to certain occupations. This is important for your exam point of view. If the person has been working in mining of gold, mica, silver, coal, lead, zinc, manganese, or pottery and ceramic industry, or sandblasting and metal grinding, building and construction work, or rock mining and iron and steel industry, the person is likely to have silicosis. If he or she goes on to develop pneumoconiosis, it will be silicosis. In coal mining, usually the disease that develops is anthracosis. Among workers who work in manufacture of asbestos, cement, or fireproof textiles, or tiles, or brake pads and clutch plates, asbestosis is the disease that usually develops. Cane sugar industry workers in the manufacture of paper, cardboard, and rayon, or in any industry where sugarcane fiber is utilized, they usually go on to develop bagasosis. Byssinosis is the disease that develops in the workers who usually work in textile industry, because it is a cotton fiber dust related type of pneumoconiosis. Farmer's lung is associated with inhalation of moldy hay or grain dust. So wherever there is grain or hay, the disease that the pneumoconiosis that usually develops is farmer's lung. Lead poisoning develops in workers who work with batteries, or in manufacturing or repair of batteries, in glass manufacturing, shipbuilding and braking, printing and potteries, rubber industry, paint, etc. Also, the exposure to gasoline or lead pipes or paint are environmental sources of the lead poisoning. Thank you very much. We have finished our unit of occupational health.